Morning, everybody. How are we all? So we have some newbies today, which is good to see. Just as a quick question for the newbies, why are the newbies? Why have you just found us now? Any reason? What's that? You've been too busy. That's a good thing. Those people that say I'm too busy to meditate are the ones that need to meditate. Because life is too busy. It genuinely is. We all have so much going on. Everybody has so much going on. And a lot of people, I always do the same stories and we just change things a little bit, especially at the end. I'll give you a few tips. Today will be about judgment. Judgment's a really good one for everyone. A lot of people think, no, I'm right, you're wrong. So I will talk about that at the end of the class. But for the ones that have been here before and you want to know why is Cuddy the Cruise Director doing meditation classes, but I think we figured out there was a Facebook update and there was a picture. And I was like, oh, that's about the time I was going through a really tough time. So it was about 3.5 years ago, I went through a really tough time in my life. And there was so many things going on. And you know, every day was a bad day. And I'm sure there's a lot of people will understand that. But I'm like, and I've always been quite a positive person, but I couldn't keep the positivity up. So every morning I woke up, I was like, no, today's going to be a good day. I'm not going to let anything bother me. No, it's going to be a good day. By 9:30 in the morning, it was a terrible day. So 4 things had gone wrong. And I'm like, oh, well, this has gone wrong and this has gone wrong. And it just piled up, and there was so many feelings of not being able to do enough and insecurities and all those kind of things going on. You know, and everybody has these. Everybody has bad days and they just accumulate. And when I talk about the sausage story at the end, you'll realize that was possibly one of the best things I ever learned for myself, was accountability of my feelings are mine alone and they're for nobody else. All right, and that's what the sausage story symbolizes. So when I was going through a tough time about 3-4 years ago, I started reading books. I got to a certain point where my wife said, you know, I can't really help you anymore. You know, it's a little bit of an emotional roller coaster ride. One day you're up, one day you're down. It's all over the place. I said, no, I know. What do I do? What do I do? And I'm sure, again, a lot of people have been there. Everybody has been on that tricky road sometimes. So I started reading books. I said, right, I need to help myself. All right, I can't keep going down this downward spiral. So I started reading books. And at tomorrow's class, I will bring you the reading list that I found really helpful. And there's some really good books in there for overthinking things, for stress, for anxiety, for worry, understanding your own emotions, understanding other people's emotions. But every book you read will reference meditation. So I thought, right, I got to try meditation. So I learned a little very simple tip for meditation. But none of the books that I read for meditation told you why you were going to struggle when you first meditate. Because you can have an argument with yourself. Because every part of your thought process, this internal monologue, which is quite self-debilitating for a lot of people, we all have it. We all have this internal conversation. This internal conversation, as you're sat right now, listening to me speaking, might be thinking, oh, in 4 days' time, I've got to do this. I've got to go back to it. Oh, no, let's get focused back on what he's actually saying. That's how quick you will zone out. Which is, I'm not making an excuse. I know the gentleman's laughing down there because they'd already zoned out, thinking about something that's going to happen in about 5 days' time. Totally understandable. Ladies, I'm not saying your men are not listening. All right? Because I think there's a lot of ladies say, well, my husband doesn't listen to me. It's not that we're not listening. We can sometimes be listening to something else, which is this internal monologue we all have. And that's where it comes from. So meditation is a little switch to be able to turn that conversation off. Every part of that internal monologue that we have is emotionally driven. It's driven by some kind of emotion of something that's happened to you in the past or something that's going to happen to you in the future. And either way, you've got no control. You can't go back to something that's happened in the past. You're just going to keep internalizing it and churning it. Why did this happen? Why did this happen? Why did it happen to me? Why is it happening? You can't go back to it. You can't change it. You can learn from that experience to empower you not to make those mistakes again, but you can't go back to it. A lot of people stress and worry about something that's going to happen in the future, of which you've got no control over. And 99% of all the things you worry about happening to you in the future never actually happen. So you can sit there and say, well, what if this happens? This is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. And then when you get to it and you get to the end of it, you're like, yeah, none of it happened, did it? You know, fear, anxiety, stress, and worry is everybody has it. Everybody has it going. Do I not have these feelings anymore? Still have them. But I understand, and I feel that meditation is one of those things that gets me through things is I don't sweat the small stuff anymore. Yes, I still have a fear. I still have, well, what if this dog gets too close, it's going to bark and bite my hand off. Well, that's understandable, but its chain's not long enough to get me, so I can still walk around the dog. That's another great euphemism for you, in all fairness. So these are the things that we have, and I find meditation such a helpful thing, and it's all about that thought process that we have. And it's emotionally driven. And it's this conversation that you have, and we symbolize it as your chimp. It's your chimp mind. It's the erratic part of your mind, and it's the chimp that goes taka taka taka, taka taka taka, taka taka taka. And I'm sure you've been talking to some people, and you can look at them thinking, they're not listening to a word I'm saying whatsoever, because they're lost in this internal conversation. So your chimp mind, what we do for meditation is we give it a distraction. We give it something to do, because if not, it's going to carry on. So what I teach you for the basic meditation is you're going to focus on your breath. That is literally what we're going to do for 10, 15, 20 minutes. But if I don't give you a distraction for your chimp mind, it will constantly keep talking. And when you first start meditating, it's going to argue with you. In fact, I'm going to tell you what to do, which is a very simple breathing meditation. You're going to focus on the breath, the sensation as you breathe in, the sensation as you breathe out, and you're going to count the breath as you breathe in, and that is your distraction for your chimp. You need to give your chimp something to do because it's too strong. Far too strong. You cannot control your emotions. Your chimp, you can only understand them. So that's what we do. So just to go through the basic premise of the breathing meditation, you're going to focus on the breath as it enters the nostrils. If you can, breathe in through your nose. If you've got congestion problems, you can breathe through your mouth. But it's a nice practice to breathe through your nose in. You breathe into your bellies, believe it or not. It's a cleaner way of breathing. And you breathe out through your mouth, and you purse your lips like you're blowing out a candle. So breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. You will feel the sensation of the breath as it enters in. There's a sensation as it enters the nostrils. There's a sensation as it leaves the lips. That's actually part of the misdirection for the chimp, because you'll feel something. The second part of the distraction for the chimp is you give it something to do. So you count the breath in. And every part of the breathing has to be comfortable for you. Everybody here has a different breathing pattern. You might want to count to 7, you might want to count to 4, you might only be able to count to 2. We give you a basic breathing of counting to 3 as you breathe in. 1, 2, 3. And you breathe out. 1, 2, 3. That's the distraction you give your chimp mind. And believe it or not, when you first start meditating, you'll be able to zone out in seconds. But your chimp will start again. And this is what was never described to me in any books that I read, is that conversation will start again. So I give you some tips, okay? Because when you first start meditating, your chimp is so strong, it's so angry, it's so upset about something, it's going to hold on and go, no, I'm not doing this. No, I'm not counting. No, I'm not doing it. And you after this, and you're laughing. I hear the giggles because people have been meditating. They go, yeah, that's exactly how it starts. But over an amount of time, and I can honestly say it was a life changer for me, was 2 weeks of meditating. 2 weeks of giving myself a little time every day to practice, practice, practice. I noticed a difference between that conversation in my mind. 2 weeks, all right? And there's a few tips I'll give you over how to resolve those conversations that's going on. We're going to talk about judgment at the end, and then we'll talk about the sausage story. Okay? So that's what we do for the meditation, is you count your breath in, you count your breath out, and that is a distraction. You give it something to do. Because if not, if you just sit there trying to keep a clear mind, those conversations are going to start again. So the tips to meditation are: focus on your breath, breathe in, breathe out. And what's going to happen after a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that conversation will start again. And this is the tip to meditation. Acknowledge it. Okay, I'm not counting anymore. The conversation started again. Do not interact with the conversation. Do not interact with it. As Frozen once said, let it go. And this is the biggest tip to meditation. Reset and bring it back to the breath. And when you first start meditating, you will have to reset 10, 20 times, 30 times, 40 times, 50 times, because your chimp is so loud. If you have to reset 10, 20, 30, 50 times for your first meditation session, you're the people that need to meditate more, and you need to practice and practice, practice. Some people will zone out in seconds. Fantastic, fair play to you. But this internal monologue we all have will come back. Okay? So what I want you to do is sit nice and comfortable, but with your backs nice and straight against the chairs. The reason we do that is a few things that will happen when you first start meditating is you will fall asleep. Perfectly normal, perfectly natural. If you hear yourself snoring, catch yourself, wake up, acknowledge it, reset, bring it back to the breath. Keep your feet nicely planted on the floor if you can. Don't hold on to anything in your hands. If you've got coffees, soda cups, compasses, handbags, put them down. Again, let it go. Every part of this is going to be nice, relaxing and calm. You all right? Don't worry about it. A few things I'll mention for you as well. You're perfectly fine and natural to cough, scratch, sneeze, reset in any way. There's no such thing as perfect silence. Believe it or not, you coughing, you scratching will not interrupt other people's meditation. But don't forget your chimp when you first start meditating will go, I'm not doing it. This is not allowed. I need to talk. But what you'll find after doing meditation 5 days, 10 days, 14 days, your chimp will start saying to you, excuse me, when's it meditation time? Please, let's meditate, let's meditate. It will appreciate the silence. It will appreciate the calm that you have. And you will stop sweating the small stuff. All right? You will start to let things go. It's such a nice part of life, okay? So let's get started. 3 things that might happen when you first start meditating. You might fall asleep. You might get a little bit angry because you're sitting there going, am I the only one that can't do it? Am I the only one that can't shut up? Perfectly normal, perfectly natural. Another thing that might happen, I do say for this gentleman, first time it happened to me, I went straight back to the book. Is this normal? You might get a little bit of emotion. With the hunters, with the gatherers, we're the ones that hold things in. We don't talk about our feelings. Why am I here in a meditation class in the first place? I got dragged here by my wife, all right? It's perfectly fine, it's perfectly normal, it's perfectly natural. Let it go. If anything you take away from this cruise, let it go, all right? You're going to love the sausage story. All right, here we go. Everybody close your eyes. There's going to be some music on in the background. You might hear the ship squeaking. That might actually reset your monkey, your conversation, because your chimp is very sneaky. It will have already started talking without you realizing it. So when you hear somebody cough, you hear a squeak, you hear a door slam, it will bring you out and you'll go, okay, let me acknowledge it. Do not interact with it. Reset. All right, there's going to be some music on in the background. I'll give you the tips of meditation for the first few minutes. Take a deep breath in. Feel the sensation of the breath as it enters the nostrils. As you breathe out, you're going to feel the sensation of the breath as it leaves the lips. Purse your lips like you're blowing out a candle. The music in the background, you'll find gets louder the quieter the conversation gets. With every breath in, you get calmer. The breath is the elixir of life. It's okay to cough. It's okay to scratch. It's okay to move. Once your conversation starts again, acknowledge it. Do not interact with it. Let it go and reset. Bring it back to the breath. Take a deep breath in. and out. Start wiggling your toes. Shake your tush. Arms up. Good morning. Welcome back, everybody. Wow. That was quite serene today. So a quick question for everybody. Who's got a really loud chimp? I knew it. I already had you sus for that one, Sarah, I'm not going to lie. There we go. Everybody has it. Some people are really good. Doesn't mean to say that it's just we have it. Life is emotionally driven. Every part of what we deal with is emotionally driven. We have these conversations going on constantly. What we can do, what we can't do. Can't do this, can't do that. Why has this person done this? Why has this person done that? Why is this happening to me? Well, I can't enjoy now because something is going to upset me in a week's time. I know I was just speaking to someone a few days ago and they were saying, well, I'm really struggling right here and right now because something might happen in 4 months' time. I'm like, you're missing out on the beautifulness that was happening to you right now. There'll be some people who's walked around on their cruise holiday, their cruise experience, and they'll have been worried so about something that's happening in a month's time, they'll have forgotten how fabulous what you've done on this cruise. You will be so lost in something else that's gone on, you will miss what's happening to you and how great life is to you in this present moment. Because we get lost in the past or we get lost in the future. And either way, we've got no control over. So I was talking about judgment before we started. Judgment is one of the biggest things that I struggled with. Okay, I had judgment for other people, so that when I was put into a certain situation, then I thought, well, if I've got judgment for everybody else, everybody must have judgment for me. And I struggled with that, and I really, really did struggle with that. So a really good book that I read explained judgment of, everybody's got a different life story. Everyone's got a different journey. We've got this gentleman here, you've lived your life with your parents, how you were brought up, and we have this gentleman here who's lived your life, your teachings, how you were brought up, your social environments. And when you meet in the middle, we sometimes get this clash of, no, I'm right, you're wrong. I'm right because I was taught this way. You're right because you were taught a certain way. So when you get into the middle, we get this angst and this anger of, no, this person's completely wrong. It has to be done like this. It has to be like this because I'm right. This is how I was taught. When there's always a compromise, there's always different ways of getting the same results. But most people can get lost in this, no, this person's completely wrong. Why have they got this opinion? Why have they got this? It's completely wrong. That goes against every part of my teachings. This person's an idiot. I'm right. Then there's this emotion of anger and frustration. I'm right. This person's wrong. And they won't let it go. And they'll talk about it for a long time of, no, I had this situation. I was right. This person was wrong. Do you agree? And most people go, and they won't be agreeing with you, but they will just want to, satisfy you by letting you hear what you want to hear. So the judgment thing I found really helpful is, everyone's got a different teaching, everyone's got a different light. When you meet in the middle, there's always a way to get through things together. All right? The who stole my sausage story. I'm sure you're all sitting waiting to find out the story. So I think it's a great conversation that you can have. It's about accountability of your feelings. The accountability of your feelings are yours and yours alone. And don't give anybody else the empowerment over your feelings. So for instance, if you are stood in the Windjammer Cafe, in the restaurant, any kind of restaurant where you are, and it's a buffet style dining, you stand there and you think, it's okay, there's 8 sausages there, there's 8 people in line, I'm going to get a sausage. We're very British. We understand the value of a line and a queue. And we're quite happy to stand in line thinking there's 8 sausages left, I'm 8th in line. Most people's going to take 1 sausage, I'm going to get a sausage, I'm fine with that. Okay, so you wait for your sausage. 2 people go, they take a sausage each, you get down, you're 6th in line, it's okay. There's 6 sausages, I'm 6th in line, I'm going to get a sausage. Not a problem. 4 people leave. There's 2 sausages left. There's 2 people in line. You're 2nd in line. There's 2 sausages left. This is fine. I'm going to get a sausage. Then somebody who's not queued up, they've not lined up, they've come around, they've just gone in, they've took 2 sausages and they've walked off. As I say that story, I see 4 people already gasp with, what? They didn't line up. They didn't stand in the queue. They take 2 sausages. How are they still allowed to be alive? The accountability of your feelings are yours alone. It is not that person's fault who's come in and took those 2 sausages. You don't know why. They're on a different planet to you. All right? That's where the judgment comes. Okay? They've come in, they've took their sausages, they've left. They don't know they've upset you. However, if you let that person who stole your sausage bother you for the rest of your week, for the rest of your day, it's not the person's fault who stole your sausage. It's your fault for letting somebody else have an accountability over your feelings. You are the only one in charge of your feelings, nobody else. If you will look at the bigger picture, in all fairness, in most buffets, if there's a tub of sausages here, I'm guessing on the other line there's another tub of sausages. It wouldn't take that long to go and get another sausage, in all fairness. All right? However, somebody, and I'm not saying anybody in here, but let's be honest, there will be, there always is, will hold on to the fact that someone stole my sausage. And they will tell everybody around them who they meet for the next day, 2 days, a week. I've had some people come to a story of something that happened to them 4 years ago, which is very similar. And they still tell you that story because that was unacceptable. It was about standing in a line for a queue to go to see the Colosseum, and it was 4 years after, and a lady said, "You need to know somebody stood in my line in the Colosseum, and I didn't get to see the Colosseum for another 5 minutes." And that was something that happened 4 years ago, and she still held on to it, how upset she was with that person. Let it go. Okay, and I always mention this, and I mentioned this in previous classes, I think it's a really good one. Do you ever sit at the dining room table? Do you ever sit down and there is one person on the table that does not show up for the entire time you sit at the dining room where we are on board? And you'll meet that one person, you're sat there internally talking, when is this person going to shut up? They're telling you everything about them for the entire time, for the 2 hours your dining experience, and it's exhausting. Have you met that person? If you've met that person, put your hands up. Absolutely, you've met that person, good stuff. If you've never met that person, it's probably you. And they'll be talking about the sausage. However somebody's sausage has affected them, they will let you know for the entire time they're around, because it is still getting internalized and people will not let it go. So that's the who stole my sausage. If somebody steals your sausage, it's not that person's fault. You're accountable for your feelings. And I think it's such a good story for you to remember wherever you go, the accountability of your feelings and your sausages are yours alone, not the person who stole your sausage. And that's why I get a lot of people come up to me through the cruise say, someone tried to steal my sausage, didn't let them do it. It's fine, I let it go. I got over it. If I ever write a book, I swear it'll be called Who Stole My Sausage. Might be a #1 bestseller. Top shelf. Who stole my sausage? All right, so I find that really helpful, and I do. This is kind of a mantra that I go through and things like that. So the accountability of your feelings are yours and yours alone. We've talked about the judgment. Everyone's got a different set of teachings. You come to meeting the different. It doesn't mean to say people get lost in this fact of I'm right, you're wrong. It's not always the case. There can be two people that's right, and you work together when you get into the middle. There is so many people, and honestly, getting lost in something in the past. And if you've got something that happened to you in the past and you keep internalizing it, when you start meditating, that conversation will keep going. And you'll be like, it's okay, I'm trying to count, I'm trying to reset, but you keep coming back to that same conversation. You need to start resolving the conversation. We all have the answers for every conversation, for everything that's upset us within ourselves. Yes, Google helps. Yes, you've got Siri, you can ask questions. But there's something that is pertaining to you, something you cannot let go, you need to resolve it within yourself. And I found that if you change the way of the question you ask, instead of why does this keep happening to me, if you ask why, you will get a list of the reasons why it happened to you. You'll never actually get the answer. If you ask yourself the question, what do I need to do to stop this happening to me, you will get a lesson. You will get a list of 3 things that you can actually start doing to stop it happening to you. We all have the answers within. This is the end of your meditation class. I genuinely believe it's one of the best things I ever learned how to do. And to be able to pass it on to anyone, I hope you enjoy. I genuinely do. All right? Your accountability of feelings are yours and yours alone. Okay? The art of meditation is actually the ability to be able to sit in a state of total awareness with no thought. And every part of your thought process is emotionally driven. And it's your chimp. We all have it, and everybody has it. And when it gets too loud on a daily basis, get yourself that little switch, step away from yourself, and meditate. I can guarantee you so much success. Good times to meditate, first time in the morning when you first wake up, or before you go to bed. A lot of people find when they lay down It's like the floodgates are open and everything that's happened to you in the day can just keep internalizing, and it can make you struggle to sleep, all right? So do it before you fall asleep. First thing in the morning, you're not going to fall back asleep anyway. So really good times. If anyone's got any questions, you are more than welcome to ask. A lot of people don't like asking questions because their chimp will say, don't look stupid. Don't ask a question that everybody else clearly knows the answer to, but I don't. So if you want, you can have a little sidebar. If you've got any questions, you are more than welcome to. If you've got any questions you want to ask now, you are more than welcome to. Yes, my love.
Okay to lie down?
Now, you can lie down if you want to meditate, but what will happen is you will fall asleep. The automatic sleeping position is lying down. But whatever makes you feel comfortable, because you don't want to, when you first start meditating, you will fall asleep, but you don't want to start falling asleep. Meditation is not having a quick nap in the afternoon. It is literally the ability to sit in a state of total awareness with no thought, and that's what practice will get you to. And you will get these moments of time loss. We actually meditated for about 17 minutes this morning. So for a lot of people, that will have been the longest 17 minutes of their life because their chimp wouldn't stop